Hello and welcome to another sausage-strokingly enjoyable episode of Tech Spurt Weekly. And I hope you all had a truly wonderful AI Appreciation Day yesterday. Yeah, I had no f***ing clue either. In fact, I only knew it was AI Appreciation Day because it randomly popped up in my Google feed. And so I chose to celebrate in an impromptu fashion by watching Weird Science with no pants and very thoroughly appreciating Kelly LeBrock's performance. I'm sure the polar bears also celebrated by wondering where the f*** their ice cap went to. Anyway, now that that's over with, we can all look forward to next week and Chlamydia Appreciation Day. But first, a bold YouTube prong bangs on about the Pixel 11 series and RedMagic's latest gaming tablet, before suppressing the urge to burst into a great big sobbing fit as he reads last week's viewer comments. Jingle me. Tech Spurt Weekly! So we're fast approaching the big Made by Google 2026 launch event, where the latest Pixel 11 family should be waggled about on stage, and possibly in the face of a slightly confused looking Jimmy Fallon again. So apparently the event officially kicks off on August the 12th in good old New York at 6 PM local time, so for the UK that's pretty bloody late. I'll be honest kiddies, by the time that kicks off I'll probably be face down on my laptop keyboard drooling tequila all over the precious innards. But hey, you don't even have to worry about tuning in because Google has been super kind and already leaked the whole thing on Amazon. And it looks like Google has finally listened to us tech tosspots moaning on and on about how the Pixel series starts with a measly 128 gigs of storage, so now you've got minimum 256 gigs stuffed into all of the Pixel 11 series. But of course, those prices are rising as a result, so even the base Pixel 11 will now start apparently from $900, probably almost as much in GBPs. Meanwhile, Pixel 11 Pro starts at $1,100. That Pro XL costing almost as much as Samsung's S26 Ultra at $1,300. And then as for the Fold, well Jesus, you don't even want to know. And no real surprises for the lineup so far. The standard model and that Pro should both be a compact-ish 6.3 inches with similar specs to last year's blowers, except for the extra storage and the latest dinky 2nm Tensor G6 chipset, which should hopefully be a bit of a boost compared with previous generations. Although any potential performance gains also slightly hampered by the fact that Google is stuffing less RAM into the Pixel 11s, because those Pro models will now come with just 12 gigs of RAM as standard, apparently compared with 16 gigs before thanks to that ongoing memory crisis. But hey, I guess that's just yet another reason to truly appreciate all of this AI cockfoolery. Crappier phones for everyone. Cheers guys. The Pixel 11 Pro XL will sport yet another sizable 6.8 inch screen, while that Fold will be a chunky bendy git as usual. So gotta say, these latest Pixel 11 leaks not exactly the most inspiring around, especially when it comes to the battery capacity, as it has the Pixel 11 phones at best keeping roughly the same capacity as the previous Pixel 10 generation, and in some cases actually shrinking a wee bit. And meanwhile, rival flagships from the likes of Xiaomi and Oppo and Honor all getting much bigger batteries courtesy of that lovely silicon carbon tech. In fact, the only possibly thrilling bit of news about the Pixel 11 phones so far is that spangly RGB glow light which is secreted inside of the camera bump. And yes, I realise that use of the word thrilling, possibly a bit of a stretch here, but hey, I'm 44, so frankly I'm thrilled if I manage to stand up without my knees painfully cracking, or I'll make it through an entire day without sharting. Now, whenever I bang on about upcoming smartphones, I like to deliver a wee wish list of features and upgrades that I would like to see. And sadly, in the case of the Pixel 11s, it appears to be mostly a case of wishful thinking. And so big batteries with fast charging support and competitive performance, certainly two of the big ones. And from all the leaks so far, it seems like nil point on both counts. Of course, swapping to a MediaTek modem from Samsung should hopefully boost the connectivity and help with the general efficiency. And also it would be great just to see some genuinely useful new Pixel exclusive features like we used to get back in the day, the likes of call screening, those excellent safety features, etc. Basically what I'm saying is, Google, don't just pump it full of AI bollocks that nobody wants and that proves just about as useful as tits on a fridge. But anyway, what would convince you to pop one of these Pixel 11 phones in your pants? Definitely let us know down in the comments below. And now it's time for this. Uncle Spurt, we won. It's a short review, not his penis. Today, RedMagic launched a significantly upgraded version of its Astra gaming tablet, somewhat remarkably called the Astra 2. 9 meaty inches of joy for anyone who can't stop playing with themselves. It's a big one, but I can just about squeeze it into my shorts. Like so. Ta-da. Oh, don't mind the white stains, by the way. I'm pretty sure that's just toothpaste. You got that same full metal unibody, but the old coolant fan has been ripped right out and replaced with a jazzy bit of liquid coolant, complete of course with the obligatory RGB shenanigans. And this helps to keep the upgraded Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 nice and cool under pressure, so the RedMagic Astra 2 gaming tablet can absolutely spank its way through RAM guzzling randomness like Wuthering Waves at a near perfect 60 frames per second, even if you're gaming for hours. And while that battery capacity has increased by the meagerest of amounts, the actual battery life has improved significantly. You can expect 5.5 hours of non-stop Wuthering Waves action from a 100% charge. Now factor in that brighter OLED screen and the Astra 2 is much better for outdoor action, where you've got all the usual gaming tools and teenage boy baiting AI assistant Mora, complete with her usual suggestive comments.
Are you up, Commander?
Just don't. So overall, it's proper bloody good, innit? Final score, 4.5 sexy beach raptors out of 5. Uncle Spurt, we won. It's a short review, not his penis. And now it's time for the part of the show that's responsible for more uncontrollably violent bowel evacuations than a prune juice enema. It's fewer comments. Fewer comments.
So what we need to do, us girls, is to kick down the door, shit on the bed, and let the world know that we're here.
And let's start this week with Jim T4R7I. You read Jim, who says, I always watch Tech Spurt Weekly every week or fortnight or whenever Chris bothers to film it. You see, why can't there just be more Jims in this world? Cheers, big man. And Money Red Rum says, that intro is disturbing. I honestly, I can't even remember it now, even though it was just last week. And then get absolutely wankered again and start waving my knob around, did I? Neely says, if these episodes of Tech Spurt Weekly get any shorter, I'll be able to measure their length with my knob. Hey, do you know how long it takes to produce just one 15-minute episode of this pure tech gold? I mean, neither do I, because I'm usually completely hammered when I'm editing this bollocks. But that just means it takes even longer, so leave me alone. Jubilee RM says, hey old boy, I've been with you since the days of Rakombu. Proud of how far you've come. Take a swig for me, you hear. Consider that swig well and truly swigged, Mara, and thanks very much for sticking with me for like a decade or so, you absolute mentalist. And speaking of back in the day, Will Rivera says, we need to see more baby Uncle Spurt videos, as in when I first started this channel and I was a young and sprightly 37-year-old. I mean, they're all still online, every last bloody one of them, so if you want to see a not quite as old but just as bold version of me banging on in a far too excited fashion about phones that are proper old and out of date, well, absolutely help yourself. And Jedi Polar Bear says, I remember back in the day looking for a review for the Honor X Lite Classic and I stumbled upon your wondrous channel. You've definitely calmed down in all those years. I never did get the Honor X Lite, I went with the Sony Xperia L3 instead. A respectable budget choice, sir. And Steve Bacon says, oh, the enthusiasm of young Uncle Spurt back in the day, where has all that gone? Dead and gone, and all that's left is this bitter, dried up husk. And Saturn Blue says, welcome back to my feed, I've missed you, loved story time. Can we have one every week? I think I might have missed my call in here. I'll have to give bloody CBeebies a ring, see if they want to get me on that bedtime story show they do. Because I'll probably have to cut down on the swearing and the drinking and all of this gas situation. I don't want all the kids to have horrific f***ing nightmares. Macaulay Craig says new phones should have an option if you want AI on them or not, so we can all save around 500 quid a pop. Well, soon I reckon you probably will have to decide whether you want AI on your phone or not. The difference being that if you don't want AI, you'll still have to pay full price, and if you do want AI, that'll cost you an extra big fat wad every year. Just a happy wee thought for the day there, you're welcome. And the subject of last week's show was, of course, the upcoming Xiaomi 18 Pro Max, which looks rather tasty indeed. Hopefully will actually get a global launch. I've got quite a lot of lovely correspondence from you fine folk at home. So users F134SSK says, I think it's time for Xiaomi to finally integrate the in-display selfie cam if they will retain the rear screen in the 18 Pro series. You just need a decent enough in-display camera for video calls, and then the rear camera will take care of high quality selfies. Let me tell you what, that sounds like the kind of thoughtful bit of tech commentary that we certainly don't get around these parts very often. And Joshua Hene Palmer says, Xiaomi spamming phone models like there's no RAM shortage. Although not quite as bad as Motorola at the moment. Just earlier this week I reviewed what must be probably about the 12th or 13th Motorola smartphone that I bloody had in my pants this year. It's a smashing review, by the way. Definitely go get that right in your face if you haven't already. Aerocordian Kendall says, I'm sorry, that back screen just leaves me semi-flaccid. I guess partially engorged is better than not at all, right? Cheshire 90 says, nice one, Cobber. If we can get it from Xiaomi officially down under like the recent 17 series, I think I'll bypass the Pixel 11 Pro XL, which I've been waiting for, hanging in there with an iPhone 13 Pro Max. Yeah, probably the Pixel 11 segment at the start of the show didn't do too much to get your juices flowing on that XL. I'd say certainly in terms of hardware, Xiaomi is smashing it much harder than Google is at the moment. The only thing is, of course, the HyperOS software shenanigans. If you can cope with that just fine, then all good. Switching topic now to classic Huawei smartphones, and Matthew Salmon says, shout out to the Huawei Mate 20 Pro, also a banger. Absolutely, yeah, the Mates of that sort of era, sort of 7-8 years ago, just absolute smashers. And that's coming from me as well, as someone who certainly prefers a daintier device. Bonus Baby says, Benny Anderson, his name is Benny Anderson. Who's Benny Anderson? Oh, okay, the blonde, beardy ABBA guy. Right, okay, so I guess I won't go to my grave not knowing the names of any of the ABBA members then, except that I've already forgotten it. Benny Benassi? And Bonus Baby continues, and speaking of music, RIP to Bonnie Tyler. Now, arse flaps, has Bonnie gone and popped her clogs as well? Yes, she has. Well, that's incredibly sad. So yeah, RIP Bonnie, and also RIP to Sam Neill, who, of course, was the star of one of my most favourite f***ed up movies of all time, Event Horizon. I am Thunderhawk says, Mr. Spurt, 2 questions if you please. 1, when did you start doing Tech Spurt Weekly? And 2, what made you decide to do the second channel? Okay, Tech Spurt Weekly, well, if I actually did it every week, like I'm supposed to, then we'd be able to use the power of maths to actually figure it out. Almost 300 episodes now, so if I did do it every week, that would be like 5 years ago. I think I most likely started it not long after I started this channel back in 2018. I remember for a very short stint, I was actually doing a news roundup every week for the Gadget Show YouTube channel, which was, it was a massive honour to be asked to do that gig. But at the same time, they didn't like any kind of dick jokes or rude humour, which meant that about 80% of my scripts end up completely axed. So I was actually kind of glad when they didn't commission me for any more rounds of that, at which point I just started doing the news roundup here on Tech Spurt instead, and just basically made them dick joke central. As for what made me decide to do the second channel, which for anyone who doesn't know, it's called The Spurt Hole, been doing it for just under a year now, and it's basically just me drinking and buggering about. And the whole reason I started it was because I like drinking and buggering about, basically. Wally Doug says, hi Uncle Spurt, you talking about the press getting a free bar? Well, I took a daft turn in my teens and joined the Army Reserves here in Scotland. Well, one day the Army decided to have a press shoot to publicise the reserves and invited loads of reporters to come along to the shooting range where they'd set up tents, one of which had a free bar. This sounds like a very Scottish idea. And they then let the now pissed reporters use all of the weapons. I was in the butts in a trench, supposedly marking where their rounds were hitting the rather large targets, but they were getting nowhere close thanks to the large amount of alcohol they'd consumed. One of the weapons they let the reporters try was the Carl Gustav anti-tank gun. They fired off a practice round which went over our heads into the bushes and set the lot on fire. We were then trying to put the fire out, but some of the reporters decided to keep on firing but the NCOs managed to persuade them to stop and we got the fire out. So talk of free press bars makes me duck my head. That is an absolutely mental story. I gotta admit, I'm usually silently terrified whenever at one of these press junkets that's at one of those weird bars where they do like axe throwing. I wouldn't even want a load of YouTube tosspots handling axes if they were sober, let alone absolutely smashed off their tits. Happy Gramps says, hello Mr. Spurt, love from the Cook Islands, come visit sometime for a holiday. Abso-bloody-lutely, mate. Yes, big love to the Cook Islands, and hopefully my pale arse will be there someday, cowering in the shade with a bucket of woo-woo. And better make this last one because bang out of time. Sickbra257 says, Uncle Spurt, please help. My iPhone SE that I use for work refuses to die, but if it does die, then they'll give me an iPhone 16e as a replacement. Is the only option left to leave my job. Now, when you say that your iPhone SE refuses to die, it kind of sounds like you're not really trying hard enough. Perhaps it could just have, a wee accident, Goodfellas style, maybe end up, at the bottom of the Thames in about 12 different pieces. And then, hey, if the 16e shows up at your doorstep, well, maybe that can suffer some sort of tragic mishap too. Maybe you just unfortunately reverse over it with your car. About 4 or 5 times you do it. And then hopefully after that, your employer will get the message and actually give you a decent phone. Anyway, massive thanks to everyone who commented last week. Apologies if it didn't quite get to yours. Please do tappity tap your thoughts on absolutely anything in the world down below, and we'll get through as many of those as possible next week. And speaking of next week, what the f is next week? Now, don't hate me, but yes, unfortunately, there's going to be bugger all Tech Spurt Weekly next week again, and possibly the week after that as well, because I'm going to be in Disneyland. No bollocks, it's the summer holidays, so I'm off to get f***faced and ride Big Thunder Mountain. There may not be any Tech Spurt Weekly, but I am hoping to do a vlog type situation from Disneyland for the Spurt Hole channel, which I just banged on about. I'm hoping to do one on the booze type situation there, because the last time we visited Disneyland Paris, it was shockingly sober, certainly for anything based in France, and especially compared with the Florida Disneyland, Disney World, which I don't know if you've been there, but it's certainly in for kids. It's for pissheads like me who want to down 6 super strength cocktails and then go f*** about on a flume ride. However, the Paris Disneyland apparently now finally has its very own actual bar inside of the park itself. So I'm going to go review as much of that menu as possible before I get so battered I inevitably get chucked into Disney jail. However, before I bugger off to Disneyland, there is the small matter of Samsung Unpacked, which is kicking off next Wednesday. Bendy blowers for the win, so you can expect a couple of tasty treats based around all that. And I've got a few other tech videos I'm hoping to smash out just before I bugger off as well. So if you haven't done already, please do poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell so you don't miss any of that bollocks. And please do subscribe to the Spurt Hole if you haven't done so already. And make sure you have yourselves a ruddy, wonderful weekend. Cheers, everybody. Love you.